obviously what we're going to do today, folks, is kind of take you through a few slides here just to kind of get you get a good understanding of what you're actually going to learn during these 5 days of live training. We thought we would start off, folks, with these 3 questions of what we're going to try to get through today. Basically, what will I learn in 5 days? And Patrick, I mean, these questions are asked pretty consistently. The second one is pretty interesting because a lot of people want to say, you know, I hear that, you know, you got to go to school, you may have to go to college, you're going to have to go get some type of degree. How can I learn all of this in 5 days? That's sort of mind-boggling here. And I thought we would answer the question of what I'm going to get at the end of that live training. So, you know, Patrick, I mean, let's just, why don't you just talk really, really quickly about, are they going to learn enough during the live training workshop here in 5 days?
You know, I do hear that from people. In fact, I had somebody here at the very first of this training say, how are we going to learn all we need to know about this business in 5 days? Well, folks, I tell them, look, it's kind of like it's a mini MBA in this particular industry. And we zero in on it. We've done this for 25 years, so we kind of got it down. But I tell people, I'm honest with people when I say you can't learn everything there is to know about any industry, any business in 5 days. Even some of the franchises will tell you, hey, we'll send you down to Florida for 5 days to learn how to fill up vending machines or something, but you're not going to learn everything. But it's enough to get started. And that's all that people are concerned about is when I get back home, can I find the client? And then can I get them implemented and up and running? And we handhold them through that process.
You bet. Yeah. So, you know, the first day that you're going to get into that class, you're going to learn what RCM stands for, because obviously that's one of the marketing flyers that you're going to get in your marketing package is revenue cycle management. And Patrick, as I can say about you and Linda, this is no longer a mom and pop medical billing world.
Yeah, back in the late 80s, early 90s, when Linda and I started our medical billing business, that's all we did, of course, was medical billing. Now, of course, we call it the revenue cycle management, because you're managing the whole revenue cycle for the entire practice.
Right.
And it's not as easy as people used to be able to start their own medical billing. They just go out and find some software here and order a book off of Amazon and, you know, think that they knew what they were doing. It really doesn't work that way, because the hardest part of any business, of course, is getting clients.
Right.
Knowing how to build trust, knowing how to educate those clients so that they want to do business with you. And that's what we're good at. We've got tools, and in this 5 days, we're going into in depth on how to do that.
Yeah, and I just got asked the question today, you know, Eric, am I going to need to have a certification to get started in here? And at the completion of this training workshop, we've got it over here on the right-hand side. By the end of the training, you're going to be certified as a certified medical revenue manager. And I just wanted to go ahead and put it that certification. I know we're going to kind of talk about that towards the end, but you know, some people can't stay for the full hour, so I thought I'd at least get this worked in early on.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that I'm on the board of directors of MIRMA. As you see the logo there in the bottom, that's the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. And that's an organization that actually certifies all of our trainees that come through our workshop. And at the end of the week, we actually issue that certificate with your name printed right there on it, so that you can put that on the wall, you know, scan it in your phone, whatever you want to do. But that is your certification. You are certified at that point. Now, we also have, as you know, Eric, a website for our licensees with literally dozens of hours of training and further education on there. So we expect all of our licensees to go back and learn those things. But to get started, we give you enough to go out and get your first client and get them up and running as quick as possible.
Yeah, so we thought we would show you, since we're talking about training, we thought we would show you a little bit about what revenue cycle management really is. And this is a great diagram to actually show this, because I think Cynthia, as you mentioned, she's the instructor there that we use. She actually kind of goes through this. And, you know, Patrick, I think you say time and time again, we can't give enough information on our webinars. That's too much information. So, you know, here's one of those teaching items that actually happens on day one of our training workshop.
Yeah, we break this down for people because this is all kind of new to everybody. In fact, Eric, in this class, there was nobody that had any background in medical billing. And so we have to start from scratch even if some folks do have some experience, because we want to make sure everybody wraps their brain around what is this revenue cycle? What does it include? And as you can see, it starts with the claims preparation, knowing how to get those claims and the information from the doctor into the system so that they can start, submitting the claims. That's the next step there, the submission of the claims, basically to the insurance companies, because I think you're going to illustrate this later, but we don't have a clearinghouse that we have to send it to. We don't have a third party that the claims have to go to. It goes right from our system to the insurance companies and to the government agencies, of course, like Medicare.
Yeah, and then you want to take them through the rest of that part there to all the way to the end, I guess, when the doctors actually end up getting paid.
Yeah, the claims management, of course, is an important part, because once those claims are in the system, of course, they're in there. Now you got to know how to manage those claims. And that means, of course, going back and posting the payments as they come in. You've got all kinds of denial management. If a claim is denied, you got to know what went wrong and how to get it back to the insurance company. That's all a part of what we train in the classroom. And then, of course, the last part is just reporting and knowing how to show the doctor or the office manager exactly where they're at on all their money. They love that part because it's online. You can give them some sort of log into the system if you want to, so they can access this 24/7 from any computer or device. Even the doctor on the phone, he or she can, from the golf course, actually see the status of all their claims and their money. They love that part.
Yeah, and so Patrick, you made mention that they'll be able to see the reports online, and it's a full what's called a web-based system, folks. This is nothing that you're going to have to maintain any servers. I was also talking with somebody else just yesterday, Patrick, of saying outside of the initial investment of the $26,990, am I going to have to buy anything, have any other servers, any other IT, costs? And really, there's not. I mean, what you're looking at right now is something you log into. There's not any extra what you would think of as seat fees or, when you log in. It's just one thing here for iClaim, and you're using it. The doctor's using it. Their staff is using it.
Yeah. So here's the difference between us and most other companies that are out there. This is a cloud-based system, folks. That only means that the information and, of course, the software itself all runs off of our servers. And we have multiple servers with nightly backups, redundancy, in other words, so that if one goes down, another one just kicks in, and literally it's transparent to the users. But that's cloud-based. That means nothing resides on your computer. That's important in today's world, because with the HIPAA rules and regulations for patient privacy, you don't want a laptop or a device that could be stolen, even a computer, right out of your office, and there's all the patient data on it. So it's all stored off-site. It runs, yes, on the internet, so you have to have an internet connection, but where do you not have an internet connection nowadays?
Right.
Somebody was asking me earlier at the break, Eric, Michael was asking me if this has a problem with slow speeds, because he's from an area that has internet slow speed. The way our software works, folks, is it preloads everything it needs when you first log in. And then on your screen, you're seeing a form, for example, that you're filling out. And as you're filling out, there is nothing being sent or received until you submit that, you see, and then the data that you put into the form is submitted. So it's very little. You literally have a hotspot on most smartphones nowadays. You turn on the hotspot and you can run our software off your computer through your phone. It has a connection to the internet as well.
Yeah, and as you're seeing here, we're displaying that, folks, this is what obviously the doctors are using, the front office staff is using, and the billing company is using. Like I said, it's not like you're having to pay for the doctor to use it, for the front office to use it, and your billing company. It's just one service for the entire doctor, front office, and billing company. So it is very unique in that way there. Patrick, I know one of the things that's very important on day one is to put people in front of that laptop, because they want to start learning, gosh, can I learn how to do billing?
Yeah, you'll see that here in this photo. If you're not looking at your screen, you might come back over to it and see that there are laptops that you can see there in front of some people. It's not visible in everybody's case, but this class is actually looking at the software on the screen in front of them, and it looks the same on the laptop that we bring in. So you don't have to bring a laptop. You can if you want to, but you'll have everything you need right there on the ones we bring in to do that. And they're seeing right here, as Eric is showing you here, step by step, how you take the information you get from the doctor and you're putting it directly into the system, which matches the form there that some doctors still use that form, don't they, Eric?
Yeah, they do. That super bill over there and the patient intake form, we actually hand those to you. Cynthia actually has some of these circled already, information on a patient intake form. And so what you're going to do on day one is, like you see with those laptops, just kind of go, we're showing them again right here, that you really are going to go through hand in hand, doing every single claim and making sure all this is working for you. I think I'm going to show you one other. Yeah, that shows you another one right there where there's on day one, folks. This is day one where some of the licensees are just putting in these codes. You can see right over there, Cynthia's got information on two big old post-it notes over there, and she's explaining every single thing that you're going to need to know. Oh, okay. Looks like Patrick is going into our training workshop. All right, here we go, folks.
In person and drop off a revenue. Again, I'm scary. It's super scary, but it's a possibility, right? If you walk in and you said,
all right, so you got to look a little bit about the live training workshop there, Patrick.
I didn't know if you could hear the instructor or not there, but that was live. That's what's happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the folks are going right through all of this information, going through a lot of. Now, by today, she's going through some pretty intensive, hands-on working of getting in front of the doctors, but. Really, folks, on day one, what you're going to learn how to do is Patrick's get back into his room and get all set up there. We're going to take you through a step-by-step of how to log into iClaim. Then we're going to show you how to get over to this billing area. And then, folks, if you're watching the screen now, because I'm going to go through a series of screenshots here to show you exactly what you're going to be doing on day one. So you're going to go to iClaim, you're going to click on billing right here where it says enter charges, and we're going to go right over here where it says professional claim charges. And once we click on that, that's going to bring us over here, and I'm going to grab this little pin right over here. Folks, you can see right here, we're going to fill out what's called a CMS 1500 form. Now, Patrick, I think if I can remember, you and Linda, you filled out these CMS 1500 forms, but they weren't electronic.
Yeah. That was before computers, so we were actually typing them, and they're multi-part forms, Eric. So when she would make a mistake, you have to roll them up out of the platform there on the, and then white out each one of those and roll it back in, line it up, and then type to correct. It was a nightmare compared to what we do now, of course.
I'm sure. I bet on that for sure. And then once you get to this area, you're going to be checking again. I'm going to grab my little pin here. You're going to be checking for the patient's name that was selected as you're going into the iClaim. So you'll know that you're with the right patient here as you're going through the this whole part of doing the claim. Then you're going to start filling in. As you can see right down here at the very bottom, you're going to fill in what's called the diagnosis code. That's the ICD-10. Patrick, before we leave this area, I know some people may have to leave a little early and they may not catch everything that we're going to say here, but we're actually showing that the system is really doing a lot of the coding for the doctor and for the biller already in the system.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions we get from folks who are thinking about getting into our business is, what about the medical codes? Do I have to take an online course and become a certified medical coder? So Eric is illustrating here, folks, that those codes, all of them, yes, like 70,000 of them are built into our system so that when you tap in the code, it knows what that code represents. It figures all that out automatically. You can see him doing that right now as we're typing live here, and then it shows you exactly what the insurance company, of course, is owed to the doctor. And those codes, though, are built into the system. And if the doctor is using our electronic medical record system called EMRX, He literally is just tapping some buttons to pick the codes he wants for that visit, and boom, they're in there.
That's correct. And folks, again, what we're showing you right there, once you click that create a claim, that claim has been created. And it's not just, this is what's so great about our system, Patrick. It's not just that it's been created, it's actually going through our internal clearinghouse. You've made some mention of that already. But
Yeah.
all that is doing is getting that claim prepared to get to the next level, which is going to be to the payers. It just
Right.
so happens that our billing system, the iClaim system, is its own clearinghouse. So it's actually getting those payments or getting these claims to the payer, sometimes the exact same day of the what's called the date of service, the day that the patient is actually seeing the doctor.
Yeah, and folks, this is in real time. Now, let me kind of explain that this way. When you're online chatting with someone, for example, or on your phone, you're chatting in real time. In other words, when you type it and press send, that person sees it almost instantaneously, right? Well, that's
Yeah.
what's happening here, is that the data you're putting in when you hit that create the claim button down at the bottom, boom, it is created right then. The doctor or the staff could go into the system and look and see that that claim is in there right then. So
Right.
it's pretty neat that the doctor's reporting, for example, is pretty simple. You can either provide reports or give them a login. Some of them like to log in and see the status of their claims in real time, anytime they want to, 24/7.
You bet. Yep. And so, folks, I mean, as you can see so far, Patrick and I have just scratching the surface. We're only really getting through a half day of day one. And folks, if you're even looking at your clock so far, I mean, we're almost at the bottom of the hour already. And there is so much more we're going to have to try to get through even in today's webinar. But, you know, one of the things that you're going to also learn is how the doctor is going to use our electronic medical records platform. And which we've already stated, as the doctor is seeing a patient through an encounter, that system is actually already producing the codes that the doctor's going to need to send to you to do the billing. So it really is a all-in-one cloud-based service that really is second to none, Patrick.
Yeah, and there are doctors, of course, who've not gotten on any electronic health record system, and so they're still doing some things on paper. We still have a way electronically that you can all get that online, so there's no paper for you involved, but that means that you're going to do some more data entry. With the electronic medical records, like Eric said, when that's put in by the doctor, boom, it's there. You can see it instantly, and as you do the claims for that day, all of that's already there, and you don't have to do that data entry. So it saves you a lot of time for the staff and the doctor to be able to put some of that data in for you.
You bet. And I'm just showing you a quick little snippet of this as well. But folks, this is, if you've ever been to the doctor here recently, they're probably using some type of EMR system. Patrick, you know, I went to the doctor not too long ago, and this is what I saw: is the doctor talking to me and then turning around and having to type this in, and then coming back and then turning around.
I've been there. I've done that too. Very impersonal. Whereas on the iPad or any tablet, really, they can actually use the system while it, you know, just holding it there in front of them as they're talking to the patient. Much more personalized, you know, system there than turning around to a laptop on a desk behind you.
And again, just like you see with any other thing that the doctor has in their office, it's connected to all of the major labs, either via a laptop, an iPad, their iPhones. As you can see right here, this is what Patrick was talking about, is that the doctor gets to stay face to face with you now, and they can touch, they can talk, they can type, they can do whatever is most convenient and what they feel that they like to do, whatever they want to do.
Yeah, folks, so the days of a doctor dictating his notes and then somebody taking a little cassette tape and transcribing that, that's all gone, because as you can see right there, the doctor can actually talk right into the mic on their iPad, and it's being translated. And Eric, it's amazing how accurate this is. It knows 99% of all the medical terms that are used. And so the notes go right in, as you can see right there on the screen, directly into the system, and boom, they're there. A doctor literally can take 2 minutes after a patient leaves and do all of his charting, they call it. Some doctors take all that home at night and spend hours doing that, Eric.
Right. Yep. So folks, again, everything that the doctor is going to need to see their patients. And then at the end of this visit, or what's known here, as you can see right here at the top, what's known as the encounter with that particular patient. Then once the doctor gets through with that, the doctor clicks one more button and poof, this encounter is over on your side as a ready to be filed as a claim to be sent on to the insurance company. Like I said, sometimes even the same day, Patrick, and that's really unheard of in the medical billing world. And people always want to ask, Patrick, what makes ABS different than anybody else out there? And I think, by sharing what we just shared, we've just shared what it is.
Yeah, the fact that we don't have to go through a third party who then has to look at it and scrub it clean and so forth, and then resend it on to the insurance company. Those clearinghouses are eliminated with our system because we built our system as a clearinghouse initially and then developed the medical billing side of it. But that just means, folks, that doctor is going to get his money or her money, within 7 to 10 business days versus them waiting 30 to 60 days to get their money.
You bet.
I like that.
Patrick, I thought we would take a brief little stop here and let's answer some questions here. And I'll ask the question and then I'll let you answer it.
Right.
Margie is asking, do you need to have a license to do medical billing?
Well, no, you need some sort of training and certification. And of course, that's what you get during the week here. But the government does not require any sort of licensing. Now, you may have to set up your own business and get a license for that in your town there at the county courthouse. But there's nothing to that. $15 and you've got that license. Yeah. But nothing that the government requires other than what we give. You don't need any more licensing, right?
Yep, you bet. Jude is asking the question, Patrick, how often are the codes updated on your system?
Well, that's the interesting part. Even though we have certified medical coders, of course, on our staff, the codes are constantly updated. Anytime a code changes, that's updated on our system. So because it's cloud-based, when you log in the next morning, you're looking at the latest codes always. There's no downloading or getting a CD and having to install something new. No, that's all done for you. You never even worry about that. You can be sure that the latest codes are always in the system, both the diagnostic codes and the procedure codes.
And then one last one before we move on to the second half of the webinar. Montessa is asking, how many hours per week should be dedicated to this business?
Well, let's take just one doctor. It's easier to wrap your brain around one doctor, and then you can extrapolate that out. But Eric, I think we have said in the past that if a doctor has 20 patients they're seeing per day, that's 100 a week. But if you break it down for how much time it takes to do the billing for each one of those patients, a doctor, the data can be put in even by hand within 5 minutes.
Right.
And the claim created. Now, when they come back for a second visit, of course, it's all in there. So all you have to do is put in a couple of codes and a date and, less than a minute. So there's really not a whole lot of time per claim. Now, there's other things you have to do in your business besides that, but most people just allow, Eric, I think we say if you allowed a couple of hours a day for a doctor, you'd be doing fine. Now, it's not going to double or triple that each doctor you get, but you will get to the point, hopefully, where you've got, a handful of doctors and you go, you know what, I can't do this much. I want to hire somebody to help me. And that's when you can hire other people to do the data entry.
Yeah. All right. So there's some other questions that come in, but I'm going to save those a little bit towards the end because I want to get in here because, Patrick, again, even though that you and I have already talked about coding, I know this is one of those lingering things on people's minds about, okay, I'm supposed to attend this 5-day course with ABS. There's no way I'm going to learn all these codes. And no matter how often we tell people you don't need to know codes, let's share with them some of the services that they already have dealing with codes.
Yeah, as a part of our licensing package that you basically are investing in with us, we have about 7 ancillary services. One of them is this one, CodeWrite. And all it is basically is we have certified professional coders, like I said, on our staff that are ready now to take any data that the doctor wants clarification on. So maybe the doctor's not sure which code they should be using for a particular procedure or diagnosis. So they submit that through a HIPAA compliant online system. You submit that to our coders. The coders take a look at that and send back to the doctor a report that explains exactly whether they've used the right code or not, or here's some suggestions on codes that you could use that might be even better for you as far as a revenue, because doctors can code, sometimes they undercode for a visit. You know, maybe it's a level 5 is in, they code as a level 2. They're leaving money on the table, so we help with that.
Yep, and that's really what the second part of the coding part of it is, because it's the audit training, the coding and audit. And so we have Audit Guard. That what's interesting about this, Patrick, this is a great door opener, and I say a door opener because you can actually do this separately outside of any billing. I know a lot of people say, hey, can I give the doctor a test run here? You really can't do a test run with iClaim, but what you can do, excuse me, is to use Audit Guard to get in there and to say, Doc, look, let's just take some of your charts, and let's say that you may be audited by Medicare or Blue Cross Blue Shield or Cigna. Are you pretty confident that you're going to come out of that unscathed? Now, this is a great service that I think we don't talk about this particular service enough, because this is a great one that could just launch you right into everything that the doctor's doing in their building.
Eric, our partner in marketing to doctors, Dr. Vicki Ratner, who has actually written books on this subject, she says that this is one of the things that doctors lose sleep over, is being audited by Medicare, because each infraction, each code that they submitted, maybe they overcoded. Each code is worth, $10,000 in fines. So it can literally bankrupt a doctor if they are not using the correct code. So this is like, we go back in the current charts, the past. What have you done in the last month, for example, for 50 patients? And we examine those carefully and then provide a report to the doctor that explains, where they're at with this. And it gives them great relief and satisfaction to know that they have been audited already, pre-audited by our certified medical coders.
Yeah, and here's a few of the reports that can show. And I think what it does, it'll look at daily reconciliation details and coding turnaround time summaries and the physician's week, how they look, and it really pinpoints whether the doctors are coding properly. Like you said, are they leaving money on the table? Gosh, are they getting too much money and their notes don't substantiate that? Then that's where, the doctor could find you extremely valuable at this point.
Yeah, this is invaluable, folks. It literally can open doors for you, because doctors have never heard of something like this. We're the only company that has Audit Guard, and so they love the fact that these reports are provided to them by certified medical coders. You don't create these reports. This is part of the service. Now, remember, the doctor pays for this service. You make money on the service, and it's a way to show the doctor that you do have the expertise that they need.
You bet. Patrick, I'm going to let you answer a few more questions. Fawn is asking, does ABS help licensees look for potential clients?
Well, in effect, we do. But let me explain what that means. It means that we're not going to feed you a fish. We're going to teach you how to fish. We're going to show you exactly what has worked for our licensees. In fact, the instructor that teaches the class, who's been a licensee, by the way, for about 10 years now, she will take you step by step through the process that she used and that we've developed that actually helps you get the clients. Remember, it's not just a matter of taking a list. If somebody just gave you a list of all the doctors in your area, what does that tell you? Nothing, because they may have already outsourced their billing. They may have, do it in their own house. But the point is that we teach you how to connect with the doctors in your community through, I'll give you a little hint here, other people who actually know those doctors. So they're introducing you to doctors, and that's why we sign up so many doctors, because we've got a way of referrals there that works for us in our company.
Margie, it says, Patrick, I'm sorry I logged on a little bit late to the webinar. Could you remind me the initial investment here with ABS to get started?
Yeah, the initial investment is $27,990. That means about $28,000. And that covers everything. That's a lifetime, one-time fee that includes not only the 5 days of training here in Dallas, but a lifetime of support. As long as you're an ABS licensee, you have our support on any topic that you wish. Plus, you have access to our online website that I mentioned earlier that has literally dozens and dozens of videos and documents and other resources for our licensees. And that's updated on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and I think we want to make sure, and I think I heard you say, but isn't it $26,990, not 20?
I'm sorry, I'm tacking on that extra seat. If somebody wants to bring an extra person, then it's about $1,000 more. Yes. So I did get ahead of myself. So hey, we just gave everybody $1,000 discount if you're just coming by yourself.
Margie's probably going, whoo! I thought it just went up another $1,000.
Oh well, that might be because we're thinking about that. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. You never know. All right, Love Mary is asking, how can I get your system?
Well, again, Mary, that's what the investment's for. It's like buying a franchise. You pay a franchise fee, and you get the training and all the knowledge that you need and the support, et cetera, et cetera. So the only way you get our system is by coming through the live training here and paying that fee. Now, as Eric will point out here towards the end, you can get all your money back. That whole licensing fee is returned to you if you don't like what you see during the week that's here. It's happened a handful of times, I guess, over the last 25 years.
Yeah. All right, let's get back into the slides here. And we mentioned to you, Patrick mentioned to you, that there are 7 ancillary type services. We've already talked about a couple. Here's another one, and it's just getting into what's known as the accounts receivables, the money that is non-collected, Patrick, whether it's coming from the patient, whether it's coming from the patient's deductibles, whether it may be some late fees, some things that are happening here. But let's start off with Quick Collect, because this is just a quick way of getting those doctors paid.
Yeah, here's an interesting statistic that will shock most people when they first hear it, Eric, but we can substantiate this. Half of all the money that doctors bill to their patients is never collected.
Yeah.
Now imagine, let that sink in. Imagine that you had any other business that you were invoicing people for, and half of them never got paid. You'd go out of business soon, right? Doctors, of course, look at it like, okay, I'm not going to do anything to, well, some of them do turn it over to a collection agency, but most of them will just kind of let that ride. They'll write it off at the end of the year. They may send a few letters or make a phone call or two, but basically they're not going to make the patient mad at them and force them to pay anything, because they think, well, the word of mouth alone would hurt me if they told their friends and neighbors, you know.
Right. Yeah. So you got Quick Collect. I mean, it's just a way of collecting that money in a, what I would say, a soft type of collect. You know, you're not beating up all little ladies and over the phone.
But you don't send any letters out. You don't, make any phone calls, folks. This system is an online cloud-based system that does all of that for you. It's all automated, and so again, without you doing a thing, it can go out and collect up to 41% of all the money that's owed to the doctors right off the bat, without even people, paying on their own. So we're talking about past due money.
Yeah.
And that 41% is a big chunk that the doctors would never see without Quick Collect.
And Patrick, we're coming to the end of the year, and January 1 starts everybody's deductibles all over again. And so there are going to be higher deductibles going into 2019. And folks, if you'll go back a few webinars that we've done, we actually found an article saying that the doctors struggle right at the first of the year actually collecting money, and it's because of deductibles. And Patrick, this is a great way that it can kind of keep that flow of cash coming in for the doctor, because obviously some patients can't pay, $1,500 or $5,000 deductible. This way, it can kind of just keep the money flowing through there with ChoicePay.
And don't forget, Eric, there are a lot of folks out there that are self-pay. In other words, they don't have insurance, so if they go to the doctor, they pay out of their own pocket. Well, this service, ChoicePay, gives them the choice to pay exactly the way they want to. They can manage those payments to the doctor by breaking down that $300 they owe into payments of $20, $25 a month, whatever they can afford. And that can always be done automatically from their checking account or from their credit card. So we're giving them the option of automatically setting up on their own exactly how they want to pay the doctor. And the doctors love this because, again, this brings in a ton of money that they would never see otherwise for those self-pay and people that are, needing to cover their deductible.
Yeah, and it keeps a lot of those patients out from going into collections. So it's really a proactive means of getting that money.
Yeah.
A couple of other services here, Patrick, before we kind of start getting to the point where we're going to start wrapping up here. But we've got something that they're going to learn during the live training workshop. And, before I go into these last two, Patrick, I think you said, and I think Adam said at the beginning of the training workshop, you're going to learn more about what you have during this live training workshop that you really didn't know that you had. And it kind of starts with some of the services that we're talking about.
Yeah, this one, for example, I tell people when they come visit us, you can come visit us in our offices here in Fort Worth. And when you do, you can look around all you want and you'll never find any file cabinets. We don't keep paper in the office. If it does come in, we scan it directly into iDocs Now. Now, this is an off-site cloud-based system, folks, that's HIPAA compliant, that you can offer to the doctor to scan in their current records. All those file folders you see there illustrated in the brochure, all of that can be cleared up out of the doctor's office and uploaded to this system where they have access to it literally 24/7 from any computer or device that has a connection to the internet. It's the most wonderful system. Every business that deals with paperwork should have this in there.
You bet. Now, we're going to give one little secret here, folks. In this next service that we're going to talk about here, you could go do this today, and I bet you're going to get the reaction that Patrick and I are going to tell you about. This last service that we're going to talk to you about is compliancy. And Patrick, we know that if someone walks into a doctor's office and says, hey, show me and I need to speak to your compliancy officer.
Right. Yeah. They'll look at you like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to have one of those. Now, what we're talking about is HIPAA. This is the program that the government set up to make sure that, the patient data is protected and not lost and shared with other people. Well, there's all kinds of ways to not comply with that. Literally, you can walk into a doctor's office. If you've ever seen patient forms laying on a desk right there in front of you that you could read even upside down, that's a violation of the HIPAA rules and regulations. So doctors are very scared of this because, again, the government, Medicare, can come in and actually monitor this and fine the doctor for all of those infractions that they find anywhere in the office. Again, it could be tens of thousands of dollars. This protects against that, and again, a service that only ABS licensees can offer.
Yeah, that's it. Patrick, as we kind of get you, I know you're going to have to get ready to leave here shortly, but before we get to anywhere else, I'm sure everybody's wondering, what am I going to learn about marketing? And you really kicked this thing off during the live training workshop yourself.
Yeah, in fact, we did that today at around noon today. We get to the actual marketing section. And one of the interesting things, Eric, during this little session that I give is I'm trying to convey to folks that the way you think you might market to doctors is probably not the way you market to doctors.
Yeah.
Because, again, we've tested various methods and found exactly what works. Now, there's about a dozen different things that we talk about during this, and it starts on noon today, but it goes all the way through noon tomorrow. It's 24 hours of marketing training. Why so much? Because without a client, you don't have a business, right? So we're going to teach you everything we know in those probably 8 or 10 sessions on exactly how to target the right providers in your area. Folks, there's dozens of specialties out there that doctors practice, but there's only a dozen or so that you probably ought to zero in on. We're going to talk about those and why they're important that you zero in on those, at least at the beginning. Now, you can sign up any doctor you want out there, but there's some who you'd make more money on, so we're going to teach you what those are all about.
You bet. And folks, Patrick, a lot of people are going to ask, well, what about dentists? Can I bill for dentists if I'm looking for my target market? Who is that?
Oh, you mentioned dentists, right? Yes, we can bill for dentists if you want to, folks. We do have a cloud-based system that allows you to do that. But we don't we don't instruct people on how to do that, Eric, because it's such a tiny piece of the medical market that's out there. Think about the people you know. How many people do you know that have true dental insurance? Not some little plan now that pays something, but dental insurance. It's very rare. And so there's a lot of self-pay in the dental office, so there's not a whole lot of billing that's done to insurance companies there. Plus, dentists don't see near the number of patients that doctors do on a daily basis. So go after, where the money is. The money is in the medical field, doctors who are filing insurance claims. And then if you sign all those up in your area, then we'll teach you how to bill for dentists.
So you mentioned that marketing starts with getting around people who know doctors. I guess that's what you're talking about here, these power partners.
Yeah, there are people in your area who actually want to do business with doctors just like you do. It's just that they're selling a different product or service. Financial advisors might be one of those. They want a doctor as a client, so you'd want to connect with those in your area. Pharmaceutical sales reps is another example. They sell to doctors, of course. CPAs and attorneys all have doctor clients. Bankers, brokers of doctor mortgages, lenders to doctors, medical malpractice, disability insurance sales. We go through a whole litany of people that you'll want to connect with and then teach you how to connect with those people. They want clients that are doctors. You have a need for clients that are doctors. And so it's a great power partnership that we show you how to build that.
Yeah, you bet. And I mentioned to you, everybody earlier, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I got the trigger happy on the mouse there. But one of the things you're going to first get there with us here at ABS is a whole box of what's known as your business package. And Patrick, everybody's going to get, I think, over 2,000 pieces of marketing material, and it all starts with everything that we're looking at right here.
Yeah, we spent over $100,000 developing the brochures, the flyers, the postcards, the trade show displays, even the books that you can use as marketing tools that we'll talk about. All of that, folks, has to be very professional looking. You can't just print something up on your computer, using Print Shop or something and think that the doctor is going to think that you're credible. But as you can see, all of ours have been professionally designed to look like they're a part of a system. They all look and feel the same. So we're going to position you with these materials as the subject matter expert. And you may not believe it, but when you leave this week, you will know more than 95% of all medical doctors and office managers about medical billing and the whole revenue cycle management.
Yeah, and you mentioned something about a particular doctor, and having Dr. Ragnar behind you as an ABS licensee, that kind of puts you up there as a subject matter expert.
Yes, Dr. Ragnar saw thousands of patients while she was actually practicing medicine. She's still a member of the Fellow Academy of Surgeons, but she's also an MD, of course. But what she does now is work with us and our licensees and other clients that she has. She's an independent businesswoman now, helping them to connect with doctors. She does that through writing books, as you see here on the screen. There's the new Thriving Medical Practice that she and I co-authored together, as well as her latest book, The Myth of the Rich Doctor. And this is a book, guys, that really can be used by you as a marketing tool. I see you're giving them a peek at the next book there, Eric.
Yes, already. That's pretty exciting.
But you'll see during the workshop, we introduce you to Dr. Vicki, and she becomes your partner. Literally, we'll write a letter on her letterhead introducing you to the doctors in your area. Eric, it doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. And you mentioned the book of marketing, the new Thriving Medical Practice. It's a real book that people can go get right now on Amazon.com. But we're kind of pointing right down here that we're going to allow our ABS licensees to write the foreword to the book, and actually we'll print their name on front of that book for them.
That's right. Now let that sink in, folks. How powerful would it be if you were starting a business like this to have a book with a doctor's name on the front cover and your name as well?
Right.
Instant credibility for you. And in fact, the foreword that we already have, a standard one you can use, or you can write your own, can be at the end of it, you can put your contact information. You can kind of barely see it there in that little image on the right, but that's your name, website address, company name, phone number, whatever you want. So these books become an instant business card for you, so to speak. Now, we don't just hand the book to the doctor, by the way. These are shown during the training exactly what passages to highlight and then put little sticky flags where those are in the book so the doctor doesn't have to read the whole book. It's just a wonderful marketing tool, folks. You have to see it to believe it.
You bet. And folks, if you'd like to get a copy of this book, well, Patrick, let's just offer them a electronic version of it. If you would like, just get with your business coach, ask them to email you a copy of the new Thriving Medical Practice book so you can go ahead and start reading it even before you become an ABS licensee. So you'll see this in real action and start learning a lot of the components of actually what we teach in the live training workshop.
By the way, Eric, I'm sorry, this book is out on Amazon, as he said, for I think it's $24.95 is the retail price. Doctors are buying that all day long out there on the internet, but it's just generic. It doesn't mention anything about ABS or anything. The great part is that you'll be able to buy these books with your name printed on the front for about $4 a copy. That includes shipping. Yeah, it's incredible. That's our actual printing cost of this. It's about a 170-page book, but yeah, it's we're letting you look behind the scenes. We don't need to make money on the books. We want you to give out as many of those as you want.
You bet. Patrick, we've got about 5 more minutes. Are you wanting to hang on here, or what's your time frame look like?
You know, Cynthia has asked me to come back in and kind of wrap up. As you can see, we're right at 5 o'clock. We usually wrap up 5 to 5:30, so I do need to run. Eric, thanks for putting this all together.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Patrick. Tell everybody hello for us, and hopefully let those group know that we're working on new future ABS licensees to get in that class.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Folks, again, as Patrick leaves us, I want to keep on with a few of the last minute things here, because folks, not everything about marketing has to be about you and you doing that particular marketing. That's why we want to teach you how to automate your marketing, maybe through sales reps. There may be a sales rep out there that is looking, as they go into 2019, something else that they can market. So it could be your business, and you can give them a piece of the pie, either with the setup fees that you help that doctor get set up on, they get a piece of that, or some ongoing residual income that some of our licensees have learned how to do with sales reps. So what we'll do is teach you how to find those sales reps out there in the market, not only how to find them, but really how to interview them, because certainly you just don't want to get anybody that's out there and says, oh yeah, I can sell anything. You really want to know what you're looking for, and very specifically how to interview to those folks. Obviously, you're going to need to know how to hire those folks. If you're brand new in business and you need to know how to hire folks, well, we're going to show you how to do that. Obviously, how to train them. I mean, you're probably already thinking, do I have to send them to the 5 days of training? You do not. Our online licensee support site actually has a section just dedicated to training your sales reps. And then finally, how do you pay those folks that have helped you get that business? Folks, look, if someone brings you business, it's worth something. And so as a sales rep, you're going to want to be able to pay them, and pay them well, because you're going to want them to go out there and go get another doctor for you. So marketing there is a big thing. So we're going to show you how to do it. You can find out it's not as difficult as you might be thinking of it. But, you know, for those that still want to say, you know what, I think I'd like to hire a sales rep and even expand the business. That's really one of the reasons why people get sales rep, is to quickly expand their business. Now, as we kind of wrap up here, we got about three and a half more minutes left. Let me share with you about support. Now, support is a lifetime of support, and it does begin here at the live training workshop. The last day of training, you're going to learn exactly how to encounter and get in touch with support, and really work with support here, and actually how to get with the people that are on the back end of our support outside of ABS to help support you all along the way. I just mentioned to you about our licensee support side. Again, amongst where it says get started and the services, the marketing, the tool, and the resources. The resources are where you're going to find that information about training your sales reps. But the rest of this is just packed full of hours of training videos and reviews of what you've learned in the live training workshop. So this will all be available for you. And then finally, as we mentioned to you at the very beginning, at the last day of trading, the thing that you're going to get and something that's going to take you on into and launch you into this business is your certification. Because as we mentioned to you, when you go print out your business card, what you'll be able to say is like your name, or like if you're going to use my name right now, Eric Auger, CMRM, and that means Certified Medical Revenue Manager. That's what we are. We're not just billers, folks. You got to kind of think this through, that you're beyond just being a biller. You're really managing this doctor's revenue from the time that that patient calls in just to schedule the appointment to the time that that doctor gets paid. And in between that time, what you do during that time is where you're earning your money, because once you help get that doctor paid, that's whenever you get paid as well. So that's what we're going to teach you. That's what you're going to walk away with here at our live training workshop.